Just a little teeny tiny bit late. Let me refresh this. Uh, refresh. Where are you? There you are. Look at all you already on here. And let's put a live chat on here. I am muted. I think we're all good. Okay, so let's see who's here. Of course, Froggy, our first one. Um, no problem on getting dinner. Actually, Yvonne made dinner and it's cooking in the oven. She made lasagna, so that's what we're going to have for dinner. And then I also made a pumpkin pie earlier. So I just got to whip up the whipped cream for it. But let's see, we got Becky and there's Terry. Craft fair is tomorrow. I am up early to be there just after 8 a.m. My anxiety have been nagging me on and off all day. You will do just fine, Froggy. You'll do fine. I remember the first time I kind of did a craft fair. I was big into doing like the beaded ornaments, with the plastic beads and using like the fishing line to kind of put it all together. And I'll tell you, I spent so much money on supplies and a lot of time and of putting them all together. And even though they weren't overpriced, I didn't sell like any of them. So let's just say there were lots and plenty. There were plenty of them left over, and they just ended up on my tree over the years. But you'll do fine. I think you will do just fine. Um, let's see. And I saw Yvonne just popped on. There's Tracy. Um, yeah, I haven't been on Facebook too much. I really should be like posting like I was doing before, saying that I'm going live, but I haven't done that. I need to update my calendar, my DBWS calendar on the Stampin' Up website. Just so much, and just trying to get through, getting all my video content stuff done ahead of time. The cards for tonight, I actually finished up the last one last night and got everything written up. So it was all good to go today, and I didn't have to do anything with it at all. All I needed to do was just kind of get my blocks cleaned up and get everything set up. So here we are. Now, yeah, I'm going to put my hair up because now it's like all of a sudden I'm getting a little warm. Um, so I am not going to have the camera on me much because, well, I'm in yapping because there's a couple of things that I'm going to show you. So there's a couple of like the housekeeping stuff, but then I also want to show you the suite that they're using for this month's craft class. Is that what that thing is called? Craft. Yeah, they're doing this monthly a craft class. Um, so I do have the suite. The suite is part of the new online exclusives that went live this month. These are also the online exclusive items that you are not going to find any red rubber stamp sets anymore. Everything's now photopolymer. And then, of course, the packaging as well has changed. But I will tell you the one added little plus is so whenever I would get, a stamp and die bundle, I was always taking on the dies. I think I've shown you this, that on the dies, what I've done is I've actually like printed out, or at this one was actually cut out of one of the extra catalogs I had. So I'd have an image to show what's in it. So lately I've been actually, I don't think there's garlic bread. I don't think there is garlic bread. No, I didn't see her with bread. But it's fine. We don't need that. We got dessert afterwards, so that's okay. But yeah, I would have an image of the dies that are in it, and that because this is like so kind of tiny. I mean, when I'm looking for something, I want to be able to see it because there's a lot to go through. And so I use my brother P Touch labeler, and I will print out the name of it. Now I don't really have to do either. I'm going to show you the new packaging. I'm going to show you what it is that I do. Now, I did order a few, well, not everything, just a few of the things that came out during the pre-order time. Again, one of those suites I'm going to show you, and I'll tell you, it's very pretty. Very pretty. And this is, like I said, this is going to be the craft class that they're going to do. I think, what is it, November 20th? Yeah, November 20th. I kind of watched the one with the traditions of Christmas, which, by the way, if you were waiting for that designer series paper to come back, I was watching a little bit of Erica Serwin a little bit ago before I went live. And she said that that paper was supposed to come back the week of November 17th, but she said that it's actually back in stock. So if you were waiting for it, now's the time to get it while it's still available. I I wish I knew this. Well, I think when I did place my order, I don't think it was back yet, but I do want to get another pack of that paper before I do my live, because I still want to do that craft class that I only watched. I never got the chance to make the projects yet, but yeah, this one I will purchase this class as well, because again, the products, I'll show you the products. I'll probably, the other stuff that I got, maybe next Friday I'll show that. It's not enough to me, not like with this holiday mini catalog. It's not enough, I don't think, to actually do a live for it. So I will just kind of like show that stuff probably next Friday. So but other than that, let me go ahead and flip this. Let me go through this housekeeping stuff, and then show you the info regarding the craft class for this month. And then I'll actually show you the product as well. So let me kind of move my water out of the way, and let's kind of flip this and get this all situated. I do have my little leveler. Isn't this thing like stinking cute? I find that it works great on getting everything kind of leveled, so then that way things look right. It just doesn't. Okay, come on. Okay, I think that's good. I don't think it's too bad now. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, we'll put that there. Okay, so let's just make sure that I'm not gonna have this thing kind of like focusing in and out, but I can pull this out though. I did push that back when I was setting it up before. But so this 12 days of crafting advent calendar. So the calendar is still available. Oh, Dinica, welcome. Welcome back. Oh yeah, and it's late at night there on your end of the world. So the advent calendar, these are still available. I'm kind of surprised. They're not on low inventory, so these are still available. Again, I've seen what's kind of like in this, because I've watched, the sneak peek, from other demos that kind of like showed what was in it, but I have yet to open it. I decided I was going to wait till, Yvonne was here, because I got one for her too. So that way we'll open it up together. So again, the advent calendars are still available. Paper Pumpkin, the subscription period for this Wrapped and Cheer kit for the month of November. The last day to subscribe to it is November 10th. So whether you want to subscribe to get this kit, or if you want to pause it, or if you want to change the quantity of how many you're getting, everything does need to be done by the 10th to affect, that particular month. So this one actually has these little gift boxes that will hold like treats and gift cards. So it makes like 8 projects, for each of 2 tag designs, along with 8 identical coordinating boxes, foldable box spaces and pre-cut paper pieces, linen thread and red dot embellishments. And the colors in this are basic beige, cherry cobbler, mossy, meadow, which is also the Stampin' Spot, and old olive. So again, the 10th, which that's gonna be, let's say 7, 8, 9, so Monday is the last day, for that kit. Also, there are the coordinating, add-on dies that go with the October, November, and December kits. So you got your kind of like your stitched word of joy. You got your 2 flower pieces, and then you got some leaves here, and then a tag. So again, the add-on dies, you do need to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber in order to get them. Um, the item number for these is 167855, and here in the US they are $12. Now, for this class that they have going on for November. So for November, they're using the Brushed with Beauty suite. This is a suite that just came out with the November's online exclusives. The class itself, the item number is 170074. Same as the last time here in the US, the cost of the class itself is 30, and then in Canada it's 41. Now that's just the cost of the class. That doesn't include any product. Again, the product that they're using is the Brushed with Beauty suite, which is 167100. So let me bring this in and kind of show you what's in here. Now again, new packaging, all the stamp sets are going to be photopolymer. So here are the envelopes. So pretty big, and what's funny is that the stamps, you may have like a sheet that's probably about that big. But what I've done with these, instead of doing what I was doing before, creating the label and then the little printout, I actually have taken the dies and put it in the same packaging. Everything fits. So now I don't have to worry about adding, the name of it using my labeler. I can see all the dies now, and I got that. So they're together, and that's just the way I'm going to store it. So this particular suite, it does have 2 Stampin' Die bundles. You got Words of Beauty, and just like with the uh, if I can remember the name, it's in the annual catalog that I did a live on it where it had, was it Lovely and what was the other word? Can't remember. But yeah, it's very similar that you have the dies that will die cut the word, and then you have all these little greetings in here, and then the petals of beauty are basically your layering stamps that kind of have like that watercolor feel to them, and then you do have some more detailed type of dies in here as well. There is also an embossing folder. Uh, Beautiful pattern. It does not see what I don't know, but they're saying it's a regular embossing folder. It doesn't say 3D on it, but when I look at it, it does look a little bit thicker than what I'm used to seeing. So I'm actually using this embossing folder on one of the projects that I'm doing tonight. And I just use the base plate and then that 3D, so that gray plate, to do my embossing, because I don't know, it just looks thicker to me. So I don't know if they're just if this is just the way they're going to do them, or there's actually going to still say 3D. I don't know. But again, I use the 3D plate to do my die cutting on that. And then the embellishments, these are the Pearls of Beauty. So I think, what is this, like a either crumb cake or basic beige. You have Calypso Coral, and then you have a white one. So everything's kind of like iridescent. They're just like the ones that have the in colors, but they look like they're just a little bit smaller. So that's the embellishments. There's no ribbon, but for paper, look guys, look what is back. Vellum. We got vellum again. This time it's in a 12 by 12 size. You get 12 sheets per package. And yes, I was kind of surprised when they retired the vellum paper, but the vellum paper is back. So it's part of the suite. You can also order the vellum paper separately. Then there is the designer series paper. So here I do have two packs of paper in here. So everything looks like you're almost like a painted like canvas type of image. So you got this one side here with your roses and your flowers. And then on the back of it, you have these stripes. And then this looks like this is Darling Duckling. So I really like that image. I don't know how well the light is on this, but in person, it's very pretty. And then the back just looks like you got some brush strokes. It looks like petal pink. And then you have these flowers. And there's the back, Mossy Meadow. And then this image is the same as that Darling Duckling one, except this one looks like it's crumb cake. Was it I just purchased the stamps, dies, and DSP. I wasn't impressed with the embellishments and know that I wouldn't use the embossing folder much. I would say that those embellishments, those kind of drew me pretty quickly. They are pretty. I will say that they are pretty. But yeah, this is the same image as that Darling Duckling, just with the background of it looks like crumb cake. And then you have Calypso Coral, kind of like your pasty type paint. And then we have this floral image. So this one's pretty too. And I think that's Pretty Peacock. Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon, I think. And then the final pattern is this one right here. And then you got your little, like, it looks like stitching as far as your pattern. In this, you have Calypso Coral, Darling Duckling, Early Espresso, Lost Lagoon, Mossy Meadow, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Petal Pink, Secret Sea, and Very Vanilla. Okay, there's no Pretty Peacock in there, so that's got to be Lost Lagoon then. Yeah, so that's the designer series paper. And it's interesting because when it came, in the package, they had this other side facing up. They didn't have the pretty floral images facing up, which was kind of surprising, but yeah, so this is all part of the suite. I was kind of surprised that I didn't, see any ribbon included in this. The other suite that's in there, I think, is it Hobby Haven, I think is the name of it. That one actually has some pretty ribbon to it. So again, this is the Brushwood Beauty Suite, and it just came out with the November online exclusives. So now let me kind of get this stuff out of the way. And again, what I'll do is next Friday, probably before I actually start creating the cards, I'll go through the other stuff pretty quick. Again, there's only 2 suites, and then there's some bundles in there, and then there's kind of like some standalone. There's actually a background stamp, and it's photopolymer. we have never seen a photopolymer background stamp before. But this one looks pretty. It's like a linen texture, and yeah, kind of looking forward to using that for some of my backgrounds. Okay, and then there's the PDF for all of tonight's projects. Again, this video here is kind of the link is embedded in the date here. So the PDF is out there on my Google Drive. If you look just above the list of supplies, that last little paragraph there, there is a link you can click on to. It'll take you to my Google spreadsheet. There are, including this one, 92 PDFs out there. I did count them last night, so it goes all the way back to January 26th of 2024. So um, there's, like I said, there's lots out there. If there's any particular stamp set, bundle, suite, whatever you may have that you want to see what I've done with it, take a peek out there. There's a whole lot of them out there. And then these PDFs, like I said, they are free. You got the list of supplies. I have pictures of the projects. There's dimensions of the cardstocks, and then anything that was stamped or colored, I let you know what colors of ink and markers I used as well. So with that, I'm going to get going on this because there is fussy cutting in a few of these projects. So like the first and the last one, especially the last one, have fussy cutting in it. So we know that'll take a little bit, but yeah. If my assistant's like really, really nice, maybe she'll come in and she'll help me cut them. But we'll see. She doesn't have to. She doesn't want to. Okay, so let me bring in my pieces. Oh, yeah, and then there's another thing that I want to make mention. If you have watched any so far the past, I think, is it the past two or maybe just the last Throwback Thursday? There's something that I am now going to start doing. So in the past, not yet, that's going to be the last card. Um, so if you remember a few months ago, or maybe it was even last year, you noticed that behind me on my calyx unit, I had two of the color cubes. Well, that Saturday when I created that alternative card for Froggy because she didn't want a Halloween card. What I did was I decided, you know what? Let me use these cubes. I mean, they were looking really pretty on the shelf on my calyx unit. However, I wasn't really using them. So I went through the cards, and that's how I came up with the color combination to create her card. And it kind of helped. I mean, if you look at card sketches and then color combinations, again, all these colors, they're not Stampin' Up! Colors. I try to go with whatever looks closest. And that's what I did with my Throwback Thursday, using that perfect blend, the one with the sketchy coffee cup. And I used these color cube cards. Now, the day that I was doing this, I just happened to have been on YouTube, and it turns out Sarah Renee Clark, who created the color cubes, she had announced that now she had updated the first two volumes. So there's, I think, a total of 100 cards. I don't know if it's just from the first cube or from both the first and second that she has retired. She reworked all the colors and everything, and then she added two more volumes. So there's now a one, two, three, and four. And these new cubes, they have indexes to make it a little bit easier to kind of find what kind of color combination you may want. And so I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going, I spent money on them. and now it's time to actually start using them. So I actually used the color cube cards on all three of my projects tonight. So this first one, this is the card. And I also, in my description where I say like card 1, 2, and 3, I do say that it's inspired by the card number. Now, if you have the cards, then you can like actually physically look at it, but I'm showing it to you here. When I look at this, I am seeing like lemon lime twist, but at the same time, darling duckling kind of, it's very similar to that. This was old olive. This is lighter than smoky slate. And then what was this one? Yeah, what was this one? Basic basic gray, and then that one secret sea. So I kind of just kind of looked at these and I pulled out what was current and what was close to it. So this was the inspiration for this card. So my card base, this is Secret Sea, measuring 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have a piece of basic white measuring 5.25 by 4 to go inside my card. Okay. Well, thank you for stopping by. Have rest well. Thank you for coming. Um, then I have Old Olive. This measures 3.5 by 2 3/4. And then I have a piece of basic white that measures 3 3/8 by 2 5/8. And then, of course, when I looked at these colors and I see, okay, like Darling Duckling and Secret Sea and like either Mossy Meadow or Old Olive, what designer series paper do we have that features those colors? And so I pulled out the Painterly Pears. Now, of course, I didn't use any of the patterns that, have pears in it. But yeah, so this particular pattern right here has the green and the darling duckling. So I have cut 3 strips. These measure, each one is 4.5 by 1. And then I have a little itty bitty tiny scrap of basic white that I'm going to stamp and then fussy cut. Again, the bundle, let me show you the bundle I'm using. I'm using Fluffy Squirrel. I'm going to be starting on doing Christmas stuff. So next Friday is going to be the Gingerbread Man bundle. But the Fluffy Squirrel, yeah, I had to have this because I love squirrels. They're my little buddies. And I see some here. I always see them like up on the power line outside this back window here. I see them all the time. But I saw them a lot more when I was living in the house, and they always used to like to sit on my back porch and they'd be having their acorns and they're just like so stinking cute. But anyway, I had to go and use this because, I mean, of course I had to. And then with the stamp set, there's also the squirrel. This is the Fluffy Squirrel Builder Punch. So you got a punch to do the squirrel, and then you got the acorn. I think it's kind of funny, the placement of the acorn. It looks like the squirrel is pooping out an acorn. I thought that was kind of funny. I never really thought about it until someone else had mentioned it, but yeah. Um, and then other things, so I'll show the other things that I used in the other cards. So let me get started with this. So there's only like 3 greetings in here. So go nuts, it's your birthday. Can't wait to see you again. And may you gather happiness. So for the insides of these cards, I did not include like any greeting. The greeting is on the outside. So any of the cards that have like a dark card base, I do have that piece of basic white to put inside of it. So let me pull in my seal. And let's put this in our card. And let's see, put that right there. So this past week has been like temperature wise, it's been nice. It's been in the 50s in the mornings. It's been like the upper 40s into 50s. And yes, now that the time has changed with daylight savings, yes, now when it hits 5 o'clock, it's not quite fully dark, but it's just say that it takes me typically, if I'm coming straight back here, it'll take me like 45 minutes. Yeah, it would be kind of dark, but then if I have to stop at the post office, that means I get back here just after 6. So yeah, it's going to look like it's 8 o'clock at night out there. But the first day that I had to go in the office since time changed, I actually went up there and got there like an hour early. So yeah, so then I got to leave just after 4 o'clock. So I don't know if I can do that all the time, because I'll tell you, when you know that you have to get up and you have to, wait a minute, which one do I want? I want this one. When you know, for some reason, nighttime is when I have that time to kind of get some things done. And if I go to bed too late, then next thing you know, I can't sleep, because all I'm thinking about is how many hours of sleep I'm actually going to get, and how I'm not going to be able to get to take a nap because, I'm not at home. So, yeah. And so this week, I just had to go in that one day, and both Wednesday, Thursday, and today I worked from home because, I was working on that leave stuff, so I find I can get things done so much quicker if I'm here. I don't like to start something at work and then come back here and then have to hook up the laptop to go and finish it up. So yeah, I like that. I can like roll out of bed at 5 to 8 and then just come a few feet into this room, and I can work, and I need my fan. Sorry about that. And then, and I get things done. So, okay. Now I want my box. So this one's going to have "Go Nuts, It's Your Birthday." Okay, so then I got my little gift. And then I'm going to take my greeting. I'm going to stamp that with Secret C. I'll make some room here. Ink this up. I like the font, the font combination that they used on this. You got some script and you got some print. And we're going to stamp this right down here, kind of like in the middle and on the bottom. Okay, put that aside. And then, let's see. Then I'm going to bring in Basic Gray. And I'm going to take the outline of my squirrel. And I'm going to stamp that right here. He's so cute. Cute, cute, cute. And then this little itty bitty tiny scrap piece, I'm going to take my little present and I'm going to stamp that right there. And then I'm going to bring in Smoky Slate. And let me see how my Smoky Slate is, because sometimes, I press this ink in so it's not so inky, but then I go to ink something up and then it's way too inky. So let me move that out of the way. And let's see. Yeah, see how that ink is like all bubbling on there? It's too inky, and the problem is, even if I stamp off, then it's like it's just too light. So I'm going to take the back of my spoon, I'm going to press this ink in. Okay, and let me get my stamp and scrub because I can't exactly lay this spoon down without getting ink all over the place. Okay, and I may need that again. Since I got this open, let me quickly do that. All right, now let's try this again. Stamps much, much better. That's what I want. And when I stamp it off, it's way too light. Way, way, way too light. Okay, so now I have to literally like stand right over this so I can line this up within. I'm looking at the feet, looking at the ears, and my thing already touched the paper. But not bad. I'm within the lines. It's stamped perfectly. Yay. We like it when it does that. But isn't he just so cute? He, she. Adorable. Cute's adorbs. Alright, so let's close this up. And then let me bring in my little itty bitty present. So now we're going to color that in, and we're going to fussy cut that. It's not bad as far as fussy cutting goes. So for this, I'm going to grab my light Old Olive, and I'm going to do the gift part. And then my ribbon, I'm going to use my light Secrecy for that. Even the light is pretty dark. Okay. Now let's get this out of the way. And let's get our snips. And cut this without cutting my finger. Because these scissors, they're pretty sharp. I'm wondering how much longer it's going to be before Stampin' Up! Comes out with some new snips, because it's been a while since they retired these. Okay. Of course, I gotta have this little itty bitty tiny image. Okay, this piece is getting in my way. Yeah, so the last card that I'm doing, I'm stamping both of these squirrels. And even though one of them does work with the punch, I want that smaller, what do you call it, of the white outside of the stamp line. So, yeah, that one's fussy cut as well. Okay, so now I'm going to take this basic white piece. I'm going to put this on my Old Olive. Okay, and then my little gift, I'm going to get, let's see, one of my mini dimensionals. Grab my Take Your Pick tool. Add a dimensional there. And then we'll have our little squirrel holding a little present. Okay, and then on the back of this, I'm going to add some dimensionals. Oh, so for those of you that are on the list for doing cards and birthday cards, uh, November 17th is our next birthday, and it's Andrea's birthday. I already got her card done. And I actually used a new bundle that is in the online exclusives called Cake Day. So that's where you can actually make a slice of cake shaped type card. So very, very cute bundle. Okay, so there is this panel right here. Now I'm going to take my designer series paper. I'm going to kind of see if I can line this up pretty quickly. Okay, so I see that that goes there. This may go right over here. Okay, so I am going to start with, I'm actually going to start with my center panel. Add some adhesive to the back of this. And I'm going to center this the best that I can. Let's see, right about. So this whole card all came together not by something else that someone else did. I basically went on Pinterest and I looked at card sketches with measurements, and I chose the layout, and then of course I used the color cube card, and that's how this whole card came together. So I gotta do more of that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with casing. I think I need to move this over just a little bit. There's nothing wrong with casing, but if I can come up with like something original, I like that much better. So that's, and there's a lot of times there's really cute projects that I see, whether it's the catalog samples or that someone else has done, and then I just kind of change it up a little bit to kind of make it my own. But yeah, to come up with something original. I mean, some come up with some really, really cool designs and three-dimensional. Ah, okay. Yeah, I just saw Froggy's comment about mailing out birthday and Christmas cards early next week. Okay, then I'm going to take this and I'm going to center this like so. And then I'm going to take my embellishments. I have like 3 different embellishments that I'm using on these cards, and also 3 different designer series papers. So these are the 2025 to 2027 in color flat pearls. I am going to use the Darling Duckling on this, and this has the 3 sizes. These are fairly flat, so there's not a lot of bulk to it. So these will mail pretty good. I'll put one over there and then one up here. Okay, so there is our first card. Just so adorable. Love it, love it, love it. And kind of bring my lights down a little bit more. But there's our first card. Okay. And as people are coming on, again, I do have pinned up at the top of the chat box the link to take you to the Google spreadsheet for the card drawing at the very end. All right, so now I kind of move these things out of the way. And let me bring in our next card. Make sure I don't have any little pieces kind of stuck in it. All right, so the second one, okay, so the color combination, so this is the Color Cube color number 5, or card number 587. So when I look at this, I'm seeing like early espresso, pecan pie, smoky slate, pretty peacock, and then this is black. So kind of like this color combination, and so that's what I went with for this particular card. So my card base is smoky slate, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have a piece of pretty peacock, 5.25 by 4. Ahead of time, I used this new beautiful pattern embossing folder on that. Has a nice pretty pattern to subtle type of pattern to it. And let me kind of move that over there. Then I have, let's see, I have a piece of basic black that measures 3.5 by 2 3/4. I have another piece of smoky slate. This measures 3 3/8 by 2 5/8. Designer series paper. These pieces measure 3.5 by 1 1/4, and I have cut 3. They have these cute little acorns on it. This designer series paper is, it's kind of standalone. I think this could also be part of one of the what do you call it, the scrapbooking workshop kits. So this is Weekend Adventures, and it's got basic beige, basic black, Cajun Craze, Calypso Coral, Early Espresso, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Pie, and Very Vanilla. So, yeah, it's been out for a bit, but I really do like, so you got your black and Very Vanilla striped, and your black and your Cajun Craze checked. You got your trees in there, and then you got like a sky, and so kind of like your outdoorsy type paper. So, and the timing was perfect on this because this was the last card that I put together, and this order I had picked up from the post office like the day before, but earlier that day. So yeah, it just worked out perfectly. And yeah, that was the whole mess, like from I think it was last weekend. I think I made mention that there was a whole debacle about the address on the paper, the replacement paper pumpkin kit. And yeah, and I also had placed in my order. And next thing you know, I found I couldn't redirect my package to go from here to the UPS store. Well, come to find out, when they went to change the address for the paper pumpkin kit, they changed the address on the order itself. So when I went to call UPS, yeah, they told me that there was a different address on it, and that's why I wasn't able to do it. And then when I asked, well, what the address was, she wouldn't tell me. And it's like, okay, so let me take a stab at this. And it turned out it went to the special delivery address that the post office has. So, yeah, the day I went to pick it up, I had the little slip to get it. And then at first they couldn't find it. And I'm like, yeah, you guys need to find that. And so luckily they did find it. So I had it all in perfect time. So, again, the designer series paper, Weekend Adventures. Each of these pieces are 3.5 by 1 1/4. I have a scrap piece of basic white. We're going to stamp our squirrel, and then also there's a tree trunk. We're going to stamp that on there. And then I have a strip of basic white that I'm going to stamp my acorns on this, and then we're going to punch them out. So we're using the punch for most of our images. Our little stump, there's nothing, yeah, I have to actually fussy cut that. So let me bring in this, and let me get my pieces here. And then, where's my stamp set? All right, so this one, I need this other squirrel. So this is the one that works with the punch. And then we got our little stump. And then for this one, the greeting is, may you gather happiness. Oh, and we need our little acorn. Okay, let's get some blocks here. Okay, let me just take these off for a moment. And I can use these blocks. I'm going to need this squirrel for our last card. Okay. And then we got all of these. Acorn. Greeting. And then our little stump. Okay, so I'm going to start with, let's see, what do I want to start off with? Let's start with my squirrel. Now for this, I'm using Early Espresso to stamp the outline of everything, and then we're going to actually I didn't even really need this because I'm actually coloring them in. I'm not going to stamp the inside part. Okay, so let's ink him up, and we'll stamp him right down here. And then our little stump, stamp that up there. Okay, and then my greeting, I'm going to bring in my Smoky Slate piece, and we're going to stamp this in Early Espresso as well. And we're going to stamp that. Let me bring this down a little bit. And we're going to stamp that right there in that upper right hand corner. All right, we'll put that aside. And then let's get our little acorn. So I'm just going to, I'm going to stamp 7 of these. And then once we color them in, it's very easy to punch these all out. And one more. Okay. So that's it on the stamping. So let me let this has to dry some, because for some reason on basic white, Early Espresso is one of those colors, it takes a little bit for it to dry. So actually I'm going to set these aside for a moment, and then we'll put our card together. So let's fold and burnish our card base. Okay, and again, I don't have a piece for the inside because Smoky Slate is pretty light, excuse me. And I'm going to bring in my liquid glue. All right, and then we'll center that. Like so. All right, and then I'm going to take, let's see, my designer series paper, and I'm going to take, here's my other piece. All right, so I'm going to start with my center piece. And I'm going to lay this one down first. So I'm going to kind of eyeball this and look for the middle, give or take. Okay. Then we'll add this one, leaving a little bit of a gap. Let's see. This way. I am still in the camera, right? Yeah, I'm not too low. Good. Okay. So we got that there. And then we're going to take these two pieces, adhere them together. Like so. And then we'll adhere this straight down. We're not going to pop this part up because we are going to pop up our squirrel on this. And then we'll center this. Like so. Okay, so I'll set that aside. Let me get my scrap paper. And then to color these in, so for my squirrel, I'm going to use deep number 100. I think, did I use this on there? Hold on. Deep number 200. So 100 and 200, they're together in a bundle. Then I also have bronze, and then I have dark old olive for the bottoms of my acorns. So let me take, let's see, 200. So I want 200, and where I want some whoops, that's our brush tip. Where I have my shadows, I'm just going to add a little bit. And we got back here. Okay. Oh, now let's do down here. All right. Then I'm going to take my bronze. Now let's see what my, oof, that brush tip looks horrible. And then I'm going to color kind of add another coat of color on this. Kind of darken it up a little bit. Okay. That was a lot of coloring. On my last one, now I'm going to do both of these squirrels, but I'll be stamping those. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to take my deep 100 or darker shade, and I'm going to color in my trunk. So from like Sunday night into Monday, the temperature is supposed to like considerably drop to the point where I probably have to turn my heat on. Okay, so now on my acorns, these caps, I'm going to do in the 100. I've actually, while I've been here, I've actually had these windows open, and it's so cool because this back window, you know, I kind of face this, there's like this overgrowth of, you know, there's trees and there's other stuff in there, but I'll tell you, there's like a lot of fall colors back there. And then it's so cool when it starts like snowing leaves. And it was cloudy all day. We didn't get rain during the daytime, but Yvonne said that she saw things were wet out there when she got here, but it's not a whole lot though. I think we're supposed to get more. Actually, we were supposed to get more severe stuff. However, it looked like over a day or two later, this more severe stuff moved over more towards the east. So Nashville's actually dealing with the bad weather. So, because at that point I was contemplating, was I going to have to change the time? And then dark old olive, the acorns, you know, whether or not if I was going to have to start earlier, or if it was going to be bad early, then do I just reschedule this and do it on, you know, Saturday? But yeah, the weather kind of changed, so I haven't heard no thunder or anything. So yeah, I think all we're going to get is just rain. Just color all these in. And one more. Okay, so that's our coloring. All right, so let me get my punch. All right. And let's punch out our squirrel. Let's see, line them up. Okay, there's our cute little squirrel. Yeah, we're not getting any of that severe stuff. Okay, so there's our squirrel. Let me cut a stump. Ultimately, what I really should have done when it came to especially that last card, I should have just like pre-stamped, you know, actually stamp them out, but then say like, you know, the magic of TV, look, they're already cut out. You think I would have thought of that, but nope. I don't know how anybody enjoys doing this and they find it relaxing, to be honest with you. Because after a while, my fingers and all that would be cramping up. All right, so we got that. Now let's bring in our punch and let's punch out our acorns. If you could, please give the video a thumbs up. Share it if you would like. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. All that helps me in growing this channel. Also helps with this video, well, any of my videos getting out there for, you know, like other crafters and card makers to see it. Okay, and then our last one. Okay, there we go. So we can close up our punch because we're done with our punch. And then let's get rid of our little scrap pieces here. Kind of move that out of the way. All right, so I am going to take my glue dots and I'm going to add one behind his paw. Oop, dinner's done. Okay, and then I'm going to take one of my acorns and kind of have them holding it, and then I'm going to take my dimensionals. Let's see, take your big tool, and we'll take this one, we'll put this right here so it's going to kind of hold that down, and then we'll bring in our larger ones. Okay, take these off. Okay, and then we got our little stump here. Let's add some adhesive to it. All right, kind of slide that out of the way, and we'll add this. See, about, I would say about here is good. Oops. Okay, and then we'll take our squirrel, just kind of prop him up like so. And then all of our acorns, I'm going to put glue dots on the back of all of them except for two. We'll pop those up. Okay, so we'll add, here we're just going to start kind of like stacking them. Okay. And then we'll take these two and we'll add dimensional to the back. These. Poop corns. Okay. Yeah, so we'll kind of add that there. And then one right up there. Okay, so now for our embellishments on this, I'm going to use, these are the adhesive back metallic gems, so they kind of have that shape of the rhinestones, except these are metallic, so you got copper, gold, and silver. And so for this one, I'm going to use my copper one. So there's two different sizes on here. You got your larger ones and then your smaller ones. So we're going to take and add a few of those on here like so. So there is the second card. So stinking adorable. All right, so our final card. So let me kind of get these things. I got everything like thrown all over the place here. And starting to like kind of, it's all closing in on me. All right, let me get these put away. And these little passport holders, this is what I got my carded embellishments in. I did get these off of Amazon. I do have a link for them in the description of the video. All right, let me get let's see. These stamps kind of got to get cleaned here. Okay, I think that's all of them. All right, let's kind of make some room here. And then pull out our stuff for our third card. Okay, so my third card, again, we're utilizing our designer series paper on this. So there's all my bits and pieces. So this one actually has a squirrel on it. So this one is card number 349. And so I kind of saw like, I would say you can go for this one, you can go with like, say, I would like Timid Tiger or Pecan Pie, which I think that's more like what I went with. And then you have your Cajun Craze, your Early Espresso, and then Mossy, like a Mossy Meadow and kind of like a garden green almost on this one. So I utilized a lot of like those colors from this designer series paper. So my card base, that's Mossy Meadow, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. And then this paper that I am using is the Gathering Together paper. So this has Basic Beige, Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry, Early Espresso, Old Olive. It says champagne foil, but that looks more gold to me. So yeah, I'm using this pattern since it has a lot of those colors in it. So my piece here, this measures, what is this? This measures 5.25 by 4. I have a piece of basic white for the inside, 5.25 by 4. I have another piece of that Gathering Together designer series paper. This one kind of has your Early Espresso. Wait, oh, I'm looking at Yvonne's comment. Yes, he is so bored, but he is doing more. He's gone to the gym twice this week. He walked a mile on the treadmill and 3 miles. Wow. Wow, he actually, wow. No wonder he looked like he was walking very well when he was here a moment ago. Um, so yeah, so this is another pattern of that designer series paper. This measures 4 1/4 by 3. I have a scrap piece to do my stamping on. I have another piece. This measures 3 1/8 by 1/2. We're going to stamp our greeting on that. And then I also had die cut this shape. This comes out of the branching out set of dies. So this is a bundle that is in the holiday mini catalog. So you got some evergreen, you got little pine cones, and then you just have like these nesting these kind of like labels. So this isn't the largest. I think it's somewhere in between. Okay, so then let's go and do our stamping first. So I'm going to need my pecan pie for this. I'll also need my crushed curry, and I think that's it that I need for this. Okay, so let me bring in my scrap paper. Let me get some of these stamps off here because we're going to need this one. We don't need the acorn. We don't need the stump. We do need that one. And then this one, I'm going to use that greeting that says, "Can't wait to see you again." So basically we used like every stamp in this set except for this little crosshatch kind of image here. And then we got a little itty bitty tiny flower. All right, so just kind of put these on here until later on, and then I can get everything cleaned up. All right. So I got my Stampin' Pierce mat. Let's put our squirrels on here. Will that fit? Just barely. And then we got our little itty bitty 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 flower. And then we got our greeting. All right. Let's get that out of the way. All right. So we're going to take, let's see, we're going to take this squirrel and pecan pie ink. And we'll stamp him over here. And then we'll kind of flip this over and we'll stamp our other one. Okay, and then there's this little itty bitty tiny daisy. I'll stamp one of those. And then now we're going to do our filler parts. So let me get my scrap paper because we're going to stamp off. And here's to getting it all lined up. Okay, so I'm going to stamp off. Don't move. And I'm going to line up the feet. Okay, there's that one. And then let's get our other one. It's like the middle part is not fully inking. Okay. And then line up the ear. Okay, there we go. Let's get these kind of like out of the way so we don't get ink on anything. And then for my little flower here, I'm going to use my Darling Duckling just to do it's just this little tiny spot that's the top, that's like the center of our flower. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to take my light Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to trace over this stem and do the little tiny leaf. That was fun cutting that out. All right, so we got that. We're going to fussy cut that out. And then let me get my greeting piece. And we're going to do that in crushed curry. This yellow's dark enough to where you'll be able to see it. Let me just press this ink in. And then clean this off. He's probably all pooped out, Yvonne. That's probably why he's not on. He's probably already fallen asleep. All right, greeting. Ink that up. And then this will fit right there. Okay, so there's our greeting. Kind of moves that. All right. Now, scissors. So if my assistant would like to come join me, could save a little time here. And let me get her a pair of scissors. Oh, assistant.
Hi. Okay.
Yeah, when I cut it, I didn't leave a whole lot of white border on it. Just, just a little bit. What happens to punch, you can see it leaves a much bigger, and for it to fit really good on this panel, then, so you get that one, and I'll get this one, and this little itty bitty ridiculous teeny, you okay?
Yeah, I had to take my glasses off.
Oh, okay. This teeny tiny little daisy. And no, we're not racing. If we do that, I'm
Like
gonna.
that?
Yeah. Yeah. If I race, I'm gonna mess up. I'll probably cut my finger, and then we don't want blood in my video, and we don't want blood on my card either. Yeah, I don't know. Some people can do this fairly quickly, and they can make it look so good. Yeah, I'm not that person. And I think because when you fussy cut, you kind of get like these jagged edges. I think, because I am like so anal that I want things, like cut straight. I want things to be kind of even. And yeah, that's why fussy cutting and me is not, it just doesn't go together. But sometimes you just got no choice in the matter. I mean, it's not too bad. At least it's not a great big image. And one time I was watching Ange McKay, and she was doing like fussy cutting, and I made the comments like, oh yeah, I'm not a fan of that. And, they always say it's like, don't move the scissors, move the paper. But then we also kind of determined that if you're a righty, it's a little bit easier on the direction that you're going. So she would say, go, was it clockwise? And I said, yeah, I can't do that because if the way I would be cutting, I'd be actually covering up the outline. And so maybe that's one of the reasons why it's so easy for her, because she's a righty. I don't know. You're a righty, Yvonne. I
Yeah.
think, well, one time you were a lefty way
Yeah.
back when.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why you don't really have too many issues. Yeah, I really should have done this ahead of time. Okay, there's one. Now for this little itty bitty tiny flower. Gosh. Do you need more light?
No, that's not the problem. The problem is I'm trying to make just a teeny,
If you leave a little white, that's fine. I mean, yeah.
You don't want any white?
No. If you leave a little white, that's fine. You don't
That's
have
what
to.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
do, so
you don't have to
I'm going
stress.
slower than I usually
Yeah,
do.
you don't have to stress so much on it.
Okay.
It's just like I said, if I use the punch on it, it leaves too much of a
Yeah.
white border on it. And since the other squirrel doesn't have a punch to it, and I cut that out, I can't make it look like, the punched out one. We're almost there. Yeah, that doesn't feel good, like right here on my thumb. Okay, so that's it on the fussy cutting. Okay, so now, while we're waiting for that, we'll kind of set that aside and we'll start putting our card together. So let me fold and burnish this. And Yvonne, stop saying it in your mind. Fold and burnish. Yeah, she likes to mock me, so it's like I'm just putting it out there.
You don't say it too much very often.
That's right, because I end up, I hear you fold and burnish.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Okay.
I'm almost done.
Are you sure that you got enough light?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's not my problem.
Okay. You're trying to be perfect.
I am. I am. Because I know that my car.
Well, the one good thing is that it's going on this white panel, so if it's a little jagged or whatever, it's not going to really be too noticeable because you'll have that white on white. Okay, so my designer series paper, I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this centered like so. And then I'm going to take my other piece.
I need to see yours to see.
Here.
Okay. I didn't know how to do the tail. Is that?
Oh, yeah, leave it that because that's the white of the
okay.
tail. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Now let me fix this a little bit. I got some jagged edges.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be on white cardstock, and there's the thing for the scissors. All right, so now this piece of designer series paper, I'm going to center this, and I keep knocking my glasses on this light fixture here. Okay, and then we're going to take our greeting piece, add some dimensionals to the bottom of that. The back of it, not the bottom. I can't talk, I can't English. Words are hard when the camera's rolling. Oh, who am I kidding? Words are just hard, period. I don't need a camera to be rolling. Okay, so this I'm going to kind of like center this and have half of it on the two pieces of my designer series paper. And then this piece we're going to We're going to pop this up.
Was that the only thing?
Yep. Thank you, ma'am. We're just putting this together and then we're going to be done. I got to tidy up a little bit. So if you would like to be in the card drawing, if you haven't added your name yet, please add your name. And we're not doing too bad. Hour and a half. We're almost done here. As soon as I finish the card, I do have to just tidy up a little bit so I can bring my laptop in and we'll spin the wheel. And whoops, let's throw dimensional backings all over the place. All right, so this is going to get kind of like centered like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take my scroll here. I'm going to take just a little tiny bit of, well, no, you know what? Let's do a glue dot. Let's do a glue dot on this one. Glue dots. No, glue dots are right in front of me. And we're going to put one right behind his paw. Kind of tuck that behind it. And then I'm going to take this little itty bitty flower that I cut, and he's going to be holding it like that because he's going to give it to his girlfriend. All right. So we got that. And let's see, we're not popping these guys up. So I want to take my liquid glue and all right, let's flip them over, and he's going to go just above that stitch line, and his tail will kind of go off the edge a little bit. Okay, so we kind of got him there. I'll grab a block just to kind of put that down, to hold it down. And let's do his little girlfriend. Okay. And then she will go right here. Like so. Again, we'll put a bigger block just to kind of hold that all down so that dries a little bit. It goes over there. Kind of clean some of these blocks up. All right, and then for our embellishments on here, we're going to bring in some linen thread. And we're going to tie just a single-stranded bow. We're not going to double this up. Okay. Oh, and if you have any issues at all trying to get your name added on there, just say something in the chat box, and somebody would be more than happy to get your name added on there. All right, so add a glue dot, kind of tuck this behind the knot. And then this, let me see, I'll put that right there. This is going to go right over here. And then get my snips to trim. Okay. Put that there, and then we're done with our glue dots. All right, and then for this, I'm going to use the embellishments that go with this Gathering Together suite. So these are the Cajun Craze and Gold Dots. Get that out of the way. I take your pick tool and we'll add one down here. And then we'll add, oh, we got two different sizes here. Okay, there we go. There is our third card. Ooh, twice a year? Ooh. Yeah, you know, Terry, I did look online, the place that you said that you're staying at. Yeah, you literally are right up the road. You're right there on the corner of the ramp getting onto the highway. And actually the other apartment I lived in, that one bedroom apartment, is actually closer. It's on that other end of Witten. So yeah, you are going to be really, really close. Okay, so there is our third card. So let me bring in all the cards. So again, this one we did the two-step stamping, the stamping off, and then fussy cutting. Thank you again to my assistant for helping me with fussy cutting one of them for me. Can't wait to see you again. And then our second one, gathering up his acorns, and utilize the punch for both the squirrel and our acorns. And then instead of stamping the inner part of our image, we use the Stampin' Blends to color them in. That's kind of like a really cool color combination. And then here's our first card. Go nuts, it's your birthday. So there's our squirrel cards, our fluffy squirrel. So I'm going to leave those right there. And while I am tidying up a little bit here, because everything's kind of exploded on this desk, go ahead and add your name if you haven't already done so. And if you can't, just say something. Someone would be more than happy to get your name added on there. And I'm just going to tidy up so I have room to bring in my laptop. Come on, pick up. And we'll clean all these. And again, color cube cards. This I'm definitely going to utilize these going forward on all of my projects. And what's really cool, it's still in the works. There's a color companion that I also purchased when I got that. Now that is something that is in the works. And with that, these colors, they compare like all these different products, you know, like markers, colored pencils, even listed like DMC floss as well. So I thought that was really, really cool. So, so yeah, I'm waiting for that. She said that that's going to be out sometime in December. So, but there's also a digital version too of those cubes as well. So, yeah, that's going to be ready in December as well. And yeah, these things just literally just these new volumes, these are they just came out. And how ironic that that video just happened to pop up when I finally ended up pulling out the other cubes, you know, for the first time in a long time. Okay. these all off. Man, the photopolymer really sticks. I don't think you ever have to worry about these falling off the block. Okay. Ugh. Then you got to be careful you don't tear them either. All right. I remember I do have the link for the PDF if you like the projects and you happen to have this bundle that is out there. Get rid of these blocks. All right, looks much better. All right, so let me move my mouse over here. Let me get my pen and my little thing of Post-it notes. Well, let's see. We got Froggy, Becky, Terry, Sharon, Tracy, and Yvonne. Is there anybody else? Pussycat and the squirrel. All right. Okay, so do we have everybody? I kind of move this water out. We do not see. Terry, look. This is like like at work. I bring that. Remember that blue plastic one? I bring that to work and use that. But this one, I've been using that all the time since you gave me that. All right. So let me kind of move these out of the way. So card 1, 2, and 3. And okay, going once, going twice. Froggy, Becky, Terry, Sharon, Tracy, and Yvonne. Is there anybody else? Copy and put them here. Okie dokie. So let me kind of move that. Let me get the lights out of the way. Let me unplug. And let's bring this in. Okie dokie. So let's get our wheel and let's give it a spin. Becky. So Becky, how far are you from Louisville? Did you see like any of the smoke and whatnot from that UPS plane that had crashed? That is horrible. That's so horrible. Okay, I got you for number 2. There's some people that, I mean, Erica was mentioning that that they're stamping up orders that she's still waiting for, because Louisville's one of those hubs where they go. So like before I get mine, I think it does end up there in Louisville, and then it kind of works its way down. Okie dokie. Next. So we have that one. Froggy. Froggy, which one would you like? 1 or 3? Number 3, okay. As soon as I get my little sticky here. There it is. Okay. Oh, 3 to 4 hours away. Were you able to see that smoke at all? I mean, because that was pretty, you never saw anything. Wow. Yeah, I kind of saw the video of it. Man, that was horrible. I like UPS. Sorry, Terry. Sorry, Don, if he ends up watching later. I like UPS. And what's sad is that, yeah, FedEx is headquartered here in Memphis, but for some reason, I don't know, sometimes. Tracy. All right. All right. As soon as I find the little sticky note. Deborah. Oh, Deborah. I didn't see Deborah. Did Deborah pop on? I didn't see her. Hope everything is okay. She probably had a treatment and exhausted and tired. We miss you, Deborah. Okie dokie. Yeah, she may have had a treatment today and she's probably just really tired and took a lot out of her. It's okay. I totally understand. I mean, it's a Friday night and, people do have things going on. So I totally get it. I totally understand. That's what the replay is for. So it's all good. Okie dokie. So thank you everyone for joining me. Glad that you really liked the cards. I really enjoyed creating these. Do you know if the vellum is heat resistant? I believe it would be because you can heat emboss on it. Yeah, it's the same vellum that we had before. The only difference is the size. So yeah, everybody, thank you for joining me. If you're in any stormy area, yes, be safe. And yes, Froggy, have a great craft show tomorrow. You'll do great. Um, and again, I got the newsletter that went out. So if you want to subscribe to that, the link is in the description. The link for the PDF is in there. And yeah, so everybody, thank you again. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And everyone, I will see you live again next Friday here at 7 p.m. Central Time. So, and I'll show you the pre-order items that are from the November release of Online Exclusive. So have a wonderful night, everyone. Have a blessed one. Bye-bye.